Amanzi Wethu podcast, where we interview the good old sailors. Hello guys, welcome to Amanzi Wethu podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in once again today. Today we have a very, very special friend of mine, Kyle Miller. Kyle, I met in the Caribbean. Was it 2020? During COVID. Actually one of the best times of my life, I must say. The group of friends we had, it was just so nice bumping into Carl on a beach in the Caribbean, seeing a bra from back at home. And yeah, we kicked it off. We got to know each other. Obviously not enough, because obviously we had to work. So yes, guys, Carl was the skipper of sailing yacht Santiki, and sailing yacht Santiki is the support vessels for the Talisker Whiskey Challenge. So those are the guys that do the Atlantic crossing rowing. Yeah, you got me right. Rowing across the Atlantic. So anyway, I'm not gonna say too much. I'll let Carl also introduce himself from his side. Tell us a little bit about his background, how he got into sailing, and what is he doing today. So, off to you, my brother. How you doing? What's going on?
I'm good, man. I'm good, man. Thank you for having me. This
No,
is
no
very cool.
stress. Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
So my name is Kyle Miller. From Cape Town, South Africa. Um, Background, I'd say I grew up kind of between South Africa and the Netherlands throughout my life. Um, Sailing, if we go straight into that, I mean, how I got into it, I actually had no background of sailing before I even started. Um, I was studying at the time. Well, when I first got in, I was studying, but things weren't exactly going the way I wanted it to go. Um, yeah, there was more things I wanted to do with my life, and I
Yeah,
think sailing was, or go see the world was, what you in your 20s you want to go see the world, and you think there's still more out there to
yeah,
experience.
yeah. No,
Yeah,
that's something the industry definitely blesses us with. Yeah, you get to see
100%.
so much.
Yeah.
As I say, meeting you on that beautiful beach, was so
Yeah,
cool.
that was
You know, it was such a cool time. I always tell the people it was like a rainbow nation of friends. We had like the Afrikaans, the black, the colored, Aldrin from what is it, Zimbabwe,
yeah, yeah,
and it was one of the best moments ever. And we are truly, truly grateful for all those moments we shared together. So you said you studied. What did you study?
I was studying architecture before I got
Okay.
into it. Yeah,
Ooh, okay.
completely, yeah, off track.
Something totally, totally off track. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
yeah. And then with the sailing, was it a friend that introduced you to it, or
I
have you
mean,
been in Netherlands and exposed to the boats? Because Netherlands is a place where most of vessels are made that we work
yeah.
on, as we all know.
Um, I think, during high school, everybody talks about what they're gonna do after high school or university, and there was talks of look working on super yachts and stuff, but it was all like just people talking about it.
Yeah.
It wasn't something that at the time like interested me or um and then during university when I was trying to figure out what I really wanted to do with my life, one day, so what I'd actually done is I dropped out of uni
Mm-hmm.
and went to go stay with my mom, and it just took a few months to figure out what it is I wanted to do with my life. And then one day she just kicked me off the couch. She was like, "You need to go do something. You need to go figure out what you want to do."
Couch potato.
Yeah, she just kicked me out of the house and go figure out, take the day to really like find something, because you need
Yeah.
to get a move on with your life.
Yeah.
So she stays in Langebaan, town up north from Cape Town, and there were a few sailing schools there, and I just came across by chance a sailing academy with a little advertisement in a mall, and I don't know, I just took a chance with it. You see this thing, and I was like, okay, let me give them a call, see what it's about. I didn't really know that you could like make a career or have a life out of sailing. So gave them a call, went to their school, chatted with the secretary of the school, and she just sat me down and she's like, look, I can't really tell you much. I can rather show you. So it was sit down, turned on YouTube, and she just showed me videos of like what people are doing around the world, like sailing channels. Um, yeah, some of what the previous students were doing. They were like making GoPro videos of their travels, and then already I was like hooked. Like just
Okay.
seeing what people were doing
Yeah.
and like the kind of lives that they were making for themselves. That hooked me. Like I was like, okay, well, uh, if I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with my life, at least in the meantime, this is something I want to do. Like
Yeah.
go out and see the world, and along the way, you kind of figure it out.
Nice. And
Um,
sorry, was this a school that you went to in Langaban?
yeah, so it used to be Sail Due South. They've closed down now, but there's I think about 3 or 4 schools in Langaban,
Okay.
like actually dedicated sailing academies where you can get a license and then like get your tickets
Yeah.
to.
Everything from zero to hero,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah, I
Can
went
can
I went
can,
that way.
can
Zero
you
to
mention any school names? I mean, maybe there's some people that will be watching us from Langaban that would
No, sure.
like to take. Is there any schools you know of just to?
The biggest
That's,
one now, I think, is Atlantic Yachting.
okay, I've
If
heard
you
about
go
that.
into Langaban at like the Mykonos resort, they have their head offices there. And
Okay.
like what you want to do is like the same way I think I did it is you just go have a talk.
Yeah.
Even if you have no clue what you're getting yourself into, at least have a chat and see what the possibilities are.
Yeah.
Like, is it something like anything in life? You wanna get some advice or like feed off somebody's previous experience
Yeah.
and see if it fits with you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for
Great.
somebody if they want to get into it, even if most people have access to a phone and internet, just hit up Google and sailing academies, Cape Town, Langeban, Durban. Just give a search.
And now something new. People can search Amanzi Wethu podcast.
There you go.
This is
Yeah.
exactly what we're doing. Hopefully helping those that have all those questions. Yeah, that's exactly why we created this platform. As I said to you,
Yeah.
is people as you know, they come into the industry, they don't know what's clapping, or they just don't know what the next step is after doing that course. I know personally myself because I've been through it. And this is why I'm bringing the experienced people that have walked the journey. They know what's happening, and hopefully we can help those people. And then, so tell us more then. So after the lady speaking to you at Due South, what was your next trip? Because obviously I met you in the Caribbean. I'm not gonna
Oh.
ask you a day to day, but maybe you can just cut it short for us.
I
What
mean,
was
it
your next
was
step after that? What was your first boat?
so the first step was after the finishing the exam. So you go through the whole course, and then you have an exam. And the very first thing that happened after that, one of the funders for the school, he had a boat, and the first thing was like within a week, he just asked if anybody's available because he wanted this boat to be taken to Durban to be sold. And at that time, you put your hand up for anything. So I was up for it. Did the sale up to Durban to have the boat sold, and then that's already the first thing that you can put down on your CV, like the first experience. Yeah, and then from there, it was now mapping out like because all the boats are in Europe or in the Caribbean or the States,
Yeah,
so you have to get across.
yeah.
Luckily for myself, my dad, he lives in Holland, in the Netherlands. He's been working here for many years. So I put some money together, got a flight over, and then, yeah, taking it from here. So I was going to start from here, see if there's any boats around.
Okay.
But then again, this is by pure luck. One of the guys that I was doing the sailing course with in Cape Town, he had joined a company in Croatia. So within 2 weeks of being here, he had given me a phone call. And he was like, look, this company needs more guys. Are you maybe around? And again, you put your hand up and it's like, let's go. Let's go.
That's the spirit. That's the spirit, bro. You
Man,
need to have that attitude. That's the thing. You need to be
yeah.
willing to take it on and just see what comes out of it.
Yeah, I mean, what he had told me about was only a guaranteed like 2 week gig. So that's not gonna hold you down for a long time. But you take the risk, you go with it, and you see where it ends up.
Yeah.
And in that 2 weeks, if you put your best foot forward, you give it all you got. That 2 weeks turn into 5 weeks, and then from there, um, yeah, things just started rolling. Like how I ended up then because this led to working with the Talisker Atlantic Challenge.
Okay, can you tell us more about it? There's maybe some people that really
No,
don't. Maybe some people are like, why is Kyle on here today? What's the Talisker? Because I think that's crazy, man. First of all, people rowing across the Atlantic. I have so much
yeah,
questions for you, like especially when it comes to safety. But anyway,
yeah.
please tell us what is the Talisker Whiskey Challenge?
So the Talisker Atlantic Challenge
Oh,
is a
sorry.
rowing race from Spain to Antigua in the Caribbean. It's singles, doubles, triples, fours, or fives, rowing, yeah, across the Atlantic Ocean for about 3,000 miles. It's up there with the top uh, toughest endurance challenges around the world. It's people that have climbed Mount Everest, walked the poles, North and South Pole. They've ran across deserts. They cycled across continents. These are people that take part in it are really looking for the next ultra endurance um, sporting event, really trying to push themselves. Um, yeah, you have to be a little bit on the nutty side to want to do that.
Man, it's crazy.
Yeah.
When I first, I mean, I never paid too much attention to it. And when I got to the Caribbean in Antigua, someone had told me, oh, the rowing boats are coming in. I was like, oh, okay, maybe I thought this is something they were doing around Antigua. And where was it? Falmouth Harbor, hey.
Yeah,
We're in Falmouth Harbor and, boats going off, cannons going off,
yeah,
and I'm just like, okay, this is something big.
yeah,
And I was actually told about it. No, these guys have
mm,
just rowed the Atlantic.
yeah,
And there's actually pictures I'm going to post on probably our Instagram when I saw these guys. I mean,
yeah,
these guys were finished.
yeah,
People had to hold them standing up,
yeah,
because they've been sitting for so long.
yeah.
And that's so crazy. As I said, it takes a lot of balls, I would
Oh yeah,
say,
100%. Yeah, yeah,
and you just have to be a strong person, and then
yeah,
never mind living in small spaces. We talk about yachts and complain about the yachts in small spaces. These guys like crawl to their bread and then crawl back to where they're rowing again.
yeah, yeah,
That's so crazy. And how was your experience with that? Because yeah, as I said, you were on the support vessel,
yeah.
and
So
what was your roles on there?
it changed over time. When I first started with these guys, um, I actually joined. There's two support yachts, and I joined the first one as a crew member.
Okay.
And again, by right time and right place, I actually met the captain of that boat in Croatia while doing the first gig. So he had also told me about, hey, I work for this race and they row across the Atlantic. And my initial reaction was also like, excuse me, they do this? No, that's impossible. They can't row across an ocean. And I was in disbelief, but he told me about it. And then at the end of the season in Croatia, he gave me a call and he's, look, I'm looking for crew. Do you want to do this? And uh, well, yeah, sure. I mean, if you're serious, I mean, we barely know each other. We just met maybe for a couple hours, and he's like, yeah, no, 100%. Let's do it. There'll be crew, and it'll only be like three of us on board a 40-foot sailing yacht. So you know what, let's go for it. I mean, why not? It's another gig. We'll see where this one turns up. Everything so far at that point had just been like meeting someone to the next gig, meeting another person next gig, and you just kind of go with the flow.
Yeah.
And yeah, so the first year that I was with them was as crew for the first support yacht. And yeah, I was also, when I got there to the start line with all these boats, I was also like big eyes, just astonished at seeing all these different teams with their tiny rowing boats that are going to go across the ocean. Yeah, you just take it in. You just take it in and you go with the flow, you know?
You're probably the whole way wondering what are these guys doing? You know, like it's crazy. Max respect to all these guys that do that. It must be such a great achievement, great feeling. You know, crossing that finish line in Antigua, knowing
Uh,
that you've done that. You know, yeah, because they put so much preparation into it. You know, after obviously hearing about them, I've done some research and I've been watching some videos, and these guys, as I say, they've done it all, you know, and yeah, it's it's
yeah, no,
crazy. Yeah,
no. I think the thing that I've taken from it the most is, like you say, the preparation that they put into it.
yeah,
They these they're going 1, 2, 3 years of preparation, getting sponsors together, getting their boat ready, and then they taking the time to do the race,
yeah,
and then the emotion that you see on their face at the end is, I mean, it's something that you get out of your own life when you accomplish something.
yeah.
It's you get it, you know. And I
That
think, yeah, that's what made me, I think, want to stay with the race.
nice, man. That's good. And and are you still with them at the moment, or what's your plans?
Yeah, so from that first boat, um, I taken, I got off the boat in Antigua, tried to find another gig. Um, yeah, things didn't work out at that point. So then I headed back to South Africa. And then actually the owner of the second support boat gave me a call. So then it was again like a knock-on effect. He gave me a call and he was wondering if I'd maybe like to be crew on his boat. Same race, but different boat, different support boat. Yeah, so again, took a chance on it,
Yeah,
went
man.
as crew for him. And after the first crossing with him, he actually asked if I wanted to take over the boat, like captain it, because he wanted to spend some more time with his family on land and be there more with his wife and his kids. So it was doing a Atlantic crossing twice a year. It's a lot of time away from family, you know.
Exactly, man. That's one thing about the industry, man. Well, not it's just sailing itself. You're always away from home.
Yeah,
Wow, so you got
100%.
an opportunity to be a captain then. Tell us some experiences, man. How is it? How's the preparation, prepping the boat itself? Because it's not such a big boat that you're on, you know. So I guess you have to use a support vessel, you know. So if ever anything happens, if I don't know, if one capsizes, you'll be first one on side, taking them on board. And can you just take us through the steps, please?
Okay, yeah, no. So it's firstly to like get our own boat ready. So you have, before every crossing, you have your working through the rig, working through the hull of the boat, working through your electronics. You first take care of yourself. So we have, from each race, you have another, let's say, 3 months. So, okay, now we got to prep our boat for the next crossing. And then once our boat is kind of ready, then you start looking after the needs of what we need to carry on board for the rowers. So it's medical supplies, if they need any spare parts, do we have the right toolkits? Do we have the right communication tools? Then I'm starting to prepare for that. Um, yeah, going from crew, like just working underneath somebody who would say to you, look, this is what we're going to do this week. You do this every day, you do this, you do that. It was quite a big step to then move into becoming a captain where you have to plan it out yourself, like coming up with a work schedule, going into the boat and understanding, okay, how old things are, what needs to be changed, what you need to change regularly, and what you need to prepare for possible breakages. Um, yeah, going into that where you have to take the whole role on yourself was quite big.
Oh man, I can just imagine that responsibility. Obviously it
Yeah,
must be such a great feeling, like, getting that opportunity. But you have first of all, you the senior, you're the captain, of the boat. So now you're in charge of your crew. How many crew on the boat?
so we three
Three of
three
you,
guys. Yeah,
and then now obviously, as you say, thinking of yourself first, and then once that's all done, you have to kind of think of the rowers, what they all need if they had to come on
yeah,
board and stuff like that. So man, that's crazy. That is
yeah.
so crazy. And how long would it take you guys exactly? What was the longest way you've gone
For
heading to?
us, yeah, for us, actually, the longest was not doing the race itself with the rowers, but going back from Antigua back to Spain.
Okay,
So we have to get the boat back to the start line for the next year's race, and
yeah.
that I think it was last year. It took us 30 days. Yeah, that was
Oh.
not exactly a very fun ride.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. And then is it always the same crew, or does some crew decide to then leave in Antigua because they think this is not for them? Have you ever had such a situation?
No, it's every crossing is different, crew.
Oh,
It's whoever can find time to. I mean, you have to take the time out to want to do this.
exactly.
From preparation through the race to post race, it could be anywhere between 2 to 3 months, and people have their own careers, their own jobs,
Yeah.
and it's not necessarily like a promised gig for those that are sailing. It's
Mm-hmm.
not something that you could do for the whole year. So crew
Yeah.
coming on board, you'd really have to make time free. And
All right.
guys usually just join for one crossing, and then they've had the experience of an Atlantic crossing, and then they put it down on their CV and then move on to the next job.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then just tell me, how would you pick the right CV? Now, if you've got 10 CVs, you've got three guys, maybe it's some guys that are really interested in this. What would be the CVs that stand out? Obviously, sailing, I guess, is one.
Yeah. Um, I think if I see stuff on a CV that just shows that you're not afraid to get your hands dirty,
Mm,
that you aren't afraid to get stuck in, and yeah, it's usually what I look for on a CV is that outside of sailing, guys have actually been involved in, let's say, some sort of manual labor.
yeah.
A guy that was crew for me this year and also last year, he'd done some work on a farm, so packing hay bales, taking shearing sheep in its season, and then he also spent time in a butcher. Like these are guys when push comes to shove, when you're at sea and the weather's not so great, will they still be able to like put their hand up and say, I'm ready for this. Let's go. Let's just tackle it and just go
Yeah.
for it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess you really need those people because you need to be an all-rounder. I'm sure you all take turns to cook while one's
Oh
driving.
yeah, yeah,
Something goes on in the engine room, and if you're on the, if I'll use less maritime terminology, if you're driving the boat,
yeah.
you have to then.
Let's keep it simple. Yeah.
Yeah, so some people are probably like, "Oh, Theo's lost touch there," but just trying to make it simple for the people. So as I say, yeah, you need to be an all-rounder. You need to be able to, to cook. As I say, basic engine maintenance, and yeah,
Yeah, for the sailing, I mean, we're doing 3,000 miles. So what if they come in with a little bit less sailing knowledge?
hmm.
We have the 3,000 miles that you could teach it and you'll pick
you
it up.
you'll learn.
Yeah, you'll learn along the way, and it's only us three on board the boat. So
Yeah.
when you're on your own shift, I mean, you're doing solo shifts for 4 hours at a time.
Hmm.
Um, you 4 hours at a time, twice a day, you'll start to pick up things, and you
Uh,
need to like really take responsibility for your 4 hours because you're looking after two other guys on the boat and the boat itself.
yeah.
Uh,
And yeah, those guys are resting. You don't want anything to happen to them. I
exactly.
know
Yeah.
exactly being on watch. It's a
Yeah.
big responsibility. You need to keep all eyes out.
Yeah.
And yeah, okay,
Exactly.
great, man. Tell us about going back to more of the rowers now.
Mm.
Um, Okay, so obviously, how many people are rowing now? How many teams? How many boats?
So it's every year it's getting more teams because
Okay.
a couple of years ago, the idea of rowing any ocean was like a novice idea, but now it's picking up in popularity. So teams are getting more and more. We're looking at maybe like 40 to 50 teams a year now.
Okay.
But teams can consist of, you can either be solo, twos, a team of three, a team of four, a team of five. And you just enter, yeah, any category that you want, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I have so much. I mean, I don't want to ask you all the questions because you're not on the rowing boat. But first thing is, how do they go to the toilet?
A
Because
bucket on board the
ah,
boat, yeah.
so
There's
you'll be close friends after that.
yeah, yeah, exactly. If somebody's rowing, you have to go to the toilet on a bucket. Yeah,
Because man, I saw one of the boats in Antigua and I looked and there's like a small cabin in the front
yeah,
on the bow,
yeah,
which is like, I don't know, 2 meter by a meter. I don't
yeah.
know if you can even turn, with your hand there or something. It's crazy,
You find a position and you just lay. That's it.
and someone was telling me that they do hour shifts. Someone rows, goes sleep, someone comes out, you know,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's crazy, man. That's really crazy. Yeah. And
No,
have you
it's
have you had to rescue any boats, any rowers? What is the most craziest thing within the challenge that you had experienced, whether it can be on the boat or with the rowers?
yeah, we had. I think it was my first year with the second boat that I joined on the race. We had to rescue one rower about a week in. Yeah, he was having medical issues, so we had to take him off, and he was in a team of two. So his partner decided to carry on, finish the journey that they had set out to do.
Okay, how many people on the rowing boat now?
So after we took off his friend, it was just himself. Yeah, so he went from being in a pair of two to a solo, and then he finished the race by himself. He just put his head down and went
Yo,
for it. Yeah,
okay, man, that's crazy.
yeah,
Now you see, my mind is that now how does this guy get rest? Because he needs to sleep
yeah. So you row as hard as you can whenever you're up, and then the
when it's flat.
sacrifice, when you
Okay.
make the sacrifice, when you sleep, you might get pushed back. You might lose a bit of miles. It's
All
like two
right.
steps forward, one step back. That's
Yeah, that's how it is.
yeah.
Okay, and now obviously you being the support boat, you always have to be behind these guys. They can't leave any boat behind, I guess. Any rowing boat behind. You
Yeah,
always have
so
to be.
we usually start. I mean, they're doing about a half to a third of our speed.
Mm.
So we'd actually let them start, or the race would start, and then we would only start about a week and a half to almost 2 weeks later.
Okay,
But
crazy.
we keep in constant communication with them. So they have a mandate to check in with our safety team
Okay.
every day, once a day at least. Give us an update of how the boat's doing, how they're feeling, and that way we can kind of monitor. Okay, is every team okay? Can we still let them carry on? And then at a certain point, if we feel, look, this team is starting to like, yeah, pick up some issues, then it's go time. Then we set off and then we start making our way from the back of the fleet, and then we just kind of find our way to the team that we think has problems.
Oh my word, man, that
Yeah.
is so crazy. Okay, sorry. Going back to the going back to the guy that you rescued now. Now you kind
Mm.
of middle of Atlantic, I'm guessing. 10 days in, as I said, you have to go around, or is the best way to recover the guy on board? Do as much as you can till you get to Antigua. What was your next step?
So we had the medical doctor on board our boat for the race. So as soon as the guy came on board, there was a full check on him. And then the plan was take him straight to Cape Verde, and then his family will fly out there, and they take it from there. Um, if he needs to see a specialist or anything, we just hand him over to the family and say, look, this is where you guys can do your thing. We don't know how you would like to. Everybody obviously has their own um, way of they have their own family doctors, their own
Yeah.
GPs, or specialists. So the family flew out to Cape Verde. We arrived. By then, he had already recovered a little bit, so he was fine when he got on land. And yeah,
What was the problem? I don't know if you can talk about it. What was the
nah,
illness?
not really, not really.
Okay, okay, okay. Wasn't missing his wife or anything.
Nah,
Yeah, man. Oh,
uh,
yeah. I guess as I say, the industry itself, it's not always for everyone.
yeah,
Or you get into it, and something happens, or some people really decide missing their families, can't be far from families.
yeah,
Our
true.
industry, just in general, that we at is very tricky.
Yeah,
You know, yeah,
no,
man. That's
100%.
yeah. So you need to be one strong person. You're away from home, you're away from
Mm.
family, and I can only imagine in your guys' situations, because I'm thinking now of the super yacht kind of people where they have
Mm.
Wi-Fi and unlimited stuff. You also on a small vessel,
Yeah,
and you don't have all the stuff basically the biggest super yachts have. So yeah.
yeah. For me, I actually enjoyed our kind of setup. That we didn't have all of these luxuries.
Mm. Proper
Weirdly,
proper
sorry.
sailing.
Yeah, it's that's what I was actually looking for at that time of my life. It was
Mm.
just to almost be cut off and really go on like a crazy adventure and just make the most out of like my 20s, you know.
Mm.
So weirdly enough, what I thought when I visited the sailing school first and saw this like I would say the super yacht life, I ended up in a position where I wasn't doing that at all.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you done it the proper way, man. Like, that's real sailing. Like, I'm grateful for what I've done. Don't get me wrong, but you obviously been totally cut off. Like on a nice sized boat. That's something I really want to do. Crossing the Atlantic. How many times did you cross the Atlantic on such a vessel?
Uh, for 8 times now. Yeah.
And just
Yeah.
something I can relate to also is just switching off,
Yeah.
quiet, the waves,
Yeah,
oh man.
that's what I
It's
enjoy the most, I think. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
just blow 'em hard,
Yeah.
it's just especially when the weather's calm, and it's the best feeling ever,
Definitely.
there's no
Yeah.
other way to describe it, and
Yeah.
I'm so grateful for those opportunities also.
Yeah. No, the prep for it is crazy. I mean, the work that goes into getting ready to go. But
Yeah.
as soon as you're out there and you have those days, that's completely worth every bit of work that you put into it.
Yeah, man. Crazy.
Yeah.
All right, my brother. And then let's touch base on what are you doing now? What is your plans?
So now
In Netherlands, you said, yes.
so now the owner of the boat that I was captain of, he sold it.
Okay.
But I wanted to stay in the rowing company, so I've taken on a different role in logistics. So still working with the team, but more of a land-based role. And it's like you were saying, what we do, you also miss home. The sailing time away from family, from my girlfriend, was just getting a bit too much for me. I've done it for a couple of years, so yeah, look for a land position, and now luckily it's opened up the doors to me being able to stay in the company, take on a different role, but still be involved with him. And
Nice.
so yeah, now I'll still be at every race, but
Yeah.
I won't necessarily have to do the month-long sail. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Maybe you can give some advice to captains or something like that. Maybe, someone's given that opportunity that you have.
yeah,
That's great, man. That's really cool, my brother. I guess
yeah.
you've kind of made like a family now with everyone, especially the people that
Oh, 100.
organize everything.
Yeah,
So that's nice that you've moved from there and getting a land-based job. That's actually such a cool thing. It's something I wanna talk about in one of my next podcasts. I wanna speak to someone that's been I don't know, a captain or whatever, and then like moving on to like land-based job. You
yeah.
know, there's
No,
obviously
it's
so much opportunities. It's like, for example, being an engineer. and doing all the engineering courses, that's something you can then, do it when you decide to move to
Yeah.
Frankfurt like me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I didn't do engineering courses, but you know.
Yeah, the thing is,
Um,
I think people, I mean, getting into sailing, it shows you get exposed to so many different sides of you're not just necessarily doing exterior, but you're also interior. And it's also you managing your own life while you're going through that. You're traveling around the world, trying to set yourself up somewhere, trying to manage your own finances. You're exposing yourself to a lot, and it prepares you to go into almost anything else that you want to do afterwards.
Yeah, it's like I'm forever grateful for the knowledge I learned on boats.
Yeah,
Before I stepped on a boat, I was never so hands-on. I could use a drill, but and now having to move to Germany, being a facility manager, I look at things, I'm like, oh, I can do that.
yeah,
The painting, the Sikaflex, there's just so many things I do, and I'm like, oh, I can do this. And it's like, this is what I learned on boats, you
yeah,
know. And as you say, you need to be one person that's like an all-rounder.
yeah,
You might have that experience of working in interior, coming on land, and then starting managing villas or something like that.
yeah.
So there's
True.
countless, endless opportunities. Maybe your owner of the yacht decides, okay, I'm going to employ Theo, and he's going to be my stewardess on the private jet or whatever like that. So
Yeah,
there's always opportunities. You just need to be willing to take them. If it's the right one, obviously for you.
yeah. I mean, you get put in a position when you're on the boat. If there's something asked of you, if you don't do it, you can almost consider like your position gone.
Yeah, yeah.
You have to get stuck in, and once you get stuck in, you realize it's like a small pat on the back. You've done it,
Mm,
and now you've learned a new skill, and then it opens yourself up to, I can do more things.
exactly.
And yeah, once you leave, you built up like so much self-confidence in yourself, you can take on any venture afterwards.
Yeah, man, that's totally right. All right, my brother Kyle. Oh man, that was really good, really good, good. As I said to you, this platform is focusing on educating and helping those that hopefully wanna do what we done. And I'm gonna ask you today: is there any words of wisdom you can give us out there that are trying to get into the industry or wanting a career at sea? Uh, what would your advice be?
To take the first step and go talk to somebody. Go talk to
Amen.
somebody, and don't be afraid to step out into the nothingness, not knowing what's going to happen. Rather just be
Exactly.
the person to put up their hand and say, you know what, let's do this, let's go for it, and yeah,
Exactly. If you never try, you'll never know.
exactly, 100%. There we
All
go.
right, my brother. Okay, man. Carl, thank you so much for your time. We really
Yeah, more
appreciate
than
you
welcome.
coming onto this platform and sharing your experience with us.
Yeah, thanks for
Crazy,
having me,
crazy,
man.
crazy, man. I really appreciate it. And guys, thank you so much for listening to the podcast. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and stay tuned for more content. From me and Kyle, we'll say peace out.
Cheers, guys.
Amanzi Wethu podcast, where we interview the good old sailors.